Hi, how are you? Thank you for looking on my videos. And there we are. I've got a bit of a tickle in my throat today, so if I cough a little bit now and again, I do apologise. But yeah, let's be honest. Crime, where does it come from? In the life cycle, people's life cycle of crime, if you like, the very origins very often are broken homes, things going wrong in the family, people being taken into care. Many offenders, sadly, have been in care, and that really is sad. Another factor is that very many offenders have either dropped out of school or been excluded from school. So these are the very early beginnings of crime. And sometimes, in my experience, what seems to act as an accelerator to crime are drugs, illicit use of drugs. And talking of my experiences in the 1990s, the treatment that we had available for offenders with drug problems back in the 1990s was frankly pathetic. So I'm going to read you an extract from my book, going back to the 1990s. Here we are. And I'm going to read it slowly, deliberately. So here we are. Back in the 1990s, I recall there were a lot of people with drug issues coming into the probation office where I worked in London. It was sad, as there was little support or treatment available for them. We had a drug counsellor appointed belatedly towards the end of the 1990s, in 1998 or 99, but before that we were left largely to our own devices. For those addicted to heroin, needing to go onto a methadone reduction program, there was an 8 to 12 month waiting list at the local community drugs team. An 8 to 12 month waiting list. We would arrange appointments for our offenders to access this treatment, but if they failed to keep any of their appointments, they would slip down to the bottom of the waiting list. It was like trying to build a house out of a deck of cards that kept falling down. It was very frustrating. Some of the people in the probation office waiting room were very ill and appeared to be seemingly slowly dying. I recall one man looked 20 to 30 years older than his real age. He used to appear to stagger around and conk out of consciousness every now and again. There was little we could do to help these people. Addictions were really strong, and some offended against their own families in order to feed their addictions. I recall one man stole the family TV and then sold it in order to buy drugs. Families ended up having to issue final warnings and then ask their drug addict family member to leave home. Now, faced with homelessness, sadly, all too often, the only people that would let them stay in their homes were normally fellow addicts. Living together seemed to egg each other on with their addictions and to commit even more crimes in order to fund their habits. Sometimes They would even offend against each other. One man said he was mugged and his drugs stolen from him several times on his way back from buying them. He said this prompted him to always take a knife with him when he bought his drugs. Another time, he said he was sharing a flat with a friend and had a life-threatening drug overdose. He told me that whilst he was unconscious, his friend stole his benefits and then placed him in the block of flats lift so that someone else would find him and call an ambulance. However, not all substance misuser addicts scraped around at the bottom of society like an underclass of its own, continually committing theft-type offences in order to fund their habits. There were also some respectable addicts who were sufficiently financially well off enough to buy illegal drugs without committing crimes. Substance misuse in the UK is massive and urgently needs addressing. The illegal drug world is nevertheless at times a very nasty world indeed. Not far from where I live, there have been several drug gang type murder executions. One of the young men I was supervising hobbled in to see me on crutches, having managed to fracture both of his ankles. He initially told me that he had accidentally fallen off his 12th floor balcony, but later admitted it wasn't due to an accident. He later explained that some local criminal drug dealers hadn't taken kindly to him selling cannabis to the local college students, as it encroached upon their territory. He said they came round to pay him a visit, proceeded to dangle him over the balcony, and then let go. Thank you for listening. All the very best. Bye-bye.